Okay, it's me and Ark for the time being. We're trying to get YR onto the show. YR and Keith and possibly SC and RP as well there. So tonight we'll be discussing the supposed connection between Satanism and heavy metal and rock and roll. Actually, rock and roll in general there. Actually most of the good percentage of music there when you think about it there because there are many Christian fundamentalists went after Prince. They went after Michael Jackson a couple times. They even went after a couple other artists out there, a couple rappers. We definitely got to dig in deep into this particular subject here, and we're still waiting on YR. I hope and everything is okay at his spot there. Yesterday, there was the internet was out, so you find him and Keith finally called in with SC there when we had Carlos on the show with us. And
Yeah, we could add Carlos, I guess.
if he's available. Now, the thing is, the problem is, Bullfrogs contacted me last night. And he said, he sent me these messages here. And I got to definitely look into these. Got to let you know what he said about Carlos. Apparently, you remember last year when Bullfrog was accused of doing something inappropriate with his niece.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, Prince Ido came up with said that he apparently did, and then of course Carlos Cabral tried to add to that by saying he has the original audio when it turned out not to be the actual audio. It was the YR stream from the night before. He said that Prince Ido told Bullfrog that was all Carlos's idea about that particular story. And he said that Carlos is blacklisted from our community. And he said he'll do whatever it takes to keep this fool away from our community there. And he said, after what that will not look good on you, broski, is what he said to me. Now, I know I agree. I agree that what they both did was wrong. I agree that what they did was wrong to Bullfrog. It was a horrible idea to do. Now, Prince never really came out and said why did he did what he did. But I think the reason why he really did that was because he just could not take Bullfrog. Because as we all know, Bullfrog is hard to deal with at various times. There were a couple of conversations Prince and I had privately where all he talked about was Bullfrog this, Bullfrog that. At one point he even said, I could deal with Keith, I could deal with SC, but I cannot deal with Bullfrog. Because, Bullfrog has that thing about him that you can't help but go nuts over. And I think, you got to remember, last year at that time, Bullfrog, apparently, according to Carlos, was harassing Carlos, according to Carlos, of course, there. And Carlos, according to Bullfrog, was bugging him, wanting him to be on his wrestling show. And Bullfrog wants nothing to do with Carlos. He's like, you're dead to me, Carlos. Go F off. So, the whole matter, basically, the whole matter is, both Prince Idol and Carlos Cabral are kind of like, to me, they're kind of like on the question list. Now they both. Now, Carlos said yesterday he does not have that much thick skin. But in this particular community, you better have some thick skin because there's going to be shots thrown at one another left and right.
Right.
So
That's why I generally try to stay out of all that.
yeah. Now, so far, no real shots have been thrown at me for God knows how long time there. Because then again, I don't throw shots. The only shots that were thrown at me was from a Minnesota Vikings fan in the past there. And that was not too long while back, saying that I stabbed him in the back when I really didn't. But, however, to do that to someone just because you disagree with them whichever way, it's just outright wrong. It's wrong, no matter what. and it doesn't look good on his part. And I explained this to Prince. Remember when Vikings fan came in yelling at Prince the way he did last year, last
Oh
September?
yeah.
Yes. Yeah, it was unprofessional. Yeah, it was. But think about this. In retort to that, Prince Idol said that Vikings had called him the N word, which he never did. Now, Prince Idol said, figured, if you're going to fuck with me, I'm going to fuck with you back. But to accuse someone of calling him a certain word when he didn't, it's just not right there. No, it's not right. It's not. And Carlos is in my chat right now. I has asking, why are co-hosts with you tonight? Got to babysit my niece and nephews. I'll be there for the next one. Well, I tried to get a hold of YR, but yeah, he hasn't responded yet. So I'm going to try and get him on the call once more there. All right. I'm going to try once again to get the dude, get the guy in there. One more time, let's call him. It's been a while. There. If not, it's going to probably be us once again there. But all I can really say is that I'm going to leave this up to the hands of the community. I'm not a judge. I'm not a jury. I'm not no prosecutor or any of that. I'm not been in this community for that long. So I'm just going to leave it in everyone else's hands there. And we're still waiting on YR to get on the call here, let alone Keith. In fact, I hope and possibly we could, if it's not we able to get someone else on the call here, we'll probably have to do the whole show ourselves there. Unless we could get Bullfrog on the show here to discuss the topic with us. Or better yet, let me see if I can add Tommy NC 2010.
I don't think he knows any. Well, I don't know.
Well,
what he knows.
Well, actually, this would be a great time to talk about, introduce him to the stuff that we listen to here.
True.
Okay, I'm gonna try and find a dude. I've been wanting to have Tommy on my channel for a long while there, Let's see if we can find a dude. All right, there. Let's see him. I'm gonna try and call the dude. Give the guy All right. Yeah, let me see there. Let me go back upstairs. All right. Blah blah blah. Go back to chats. Blah blah blah. Okay. Go back to what we're doing here. I'm gonna try and see if we can add Tommy. Like I said, it's good to have someone different, someone interesting on the show here.
True.
All right, there. Like I said, I was hoping to trying to get Tommy on on my channel here for a while there. Are you on yours as well, man?
Mm-hmm.
Good. All right, there. If you also have have Sean's you on the show here as well there. All right. Okay. Let's see if I could get Tommy on the call so we can introduce our program to the dude there. It's been a while since me and Tommy talked. We patched things up last year there, thank goodness. Actually, it come more than a year ago when you think about it. Tommy.
Hello, Dr. Earl.
Hey, Tommy, what's up, dude? Guess what? You're live on my channel with me and Arknolia Stroke a Bean.
Okay, what's up? What's up?
Well, we figure we I've been wanting to have you as a guest on our channel, so I figure I invite you on our show. It's a music show that we talk about, and tonight we're going to be discussing something I'm sure you heard a lot about, the supposed connection between rock and roll and Satanism.
Oh, are you talking about the fact that cancel culture is trying to cancel the song that they played in Stranger Things? Is that what you're trying to talk about?
Well, we don't want to talk. Well, basically, we got to definitely include that topic out there because I think that's this cancel culture bullshit is. You're not going to cancel Metallica. I'm sorry, dudes. I'm sorry, guys. You
Yeah,
cannot.
that's the name of the band. I'm sorry, I was
Yeah,
trying to remember the
it's
name.
okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and it's interesting that one of their guitar players is a black man, and they're trying to
Half
say
black.
that Metallica is racist.
I know, yeah, and plus their bass player is Mexican, Robert Trujillo, and it's just they're just looking for something to pick on, because they're young, they don't know, they just take one little simple photo of doing this salute or that salute, and they take it every out of context. And you got to remember, these are the little weenies out there who are brought up to be sensitive. You're gonna be PC correct. You're gonna be this. I'm like, excuse me, Metallica's been around since 1981, mind you. They help
A lot
bring.
of bands are here. Here's the problem: a lot of bands from the '90s are kind of nervous to resurface because of cancel culture. It's
Yeah.
like if they resurface, then like cancel culture will do whatever they can to like with a magnifying glass and try to find any small detail to say, "Oh no, we can't have that. Cancel, cancel, cancel.
Yeah.
No, we can't have this. Cancel, cancel, cancel."
Exactly. We can't have this. It's going to offend kids. It's going to cause disruption. We all were talking about, PETA, going overboard like they did when they were issuing everybody not say the phrase, grab the bull by the horns. So, like, it's offensive to bulls out there. It's like, hello. It's a term for
It's a figure of speech.
exactly.
For God's sake.
Right, and everybody
It's not like
knows.
you're literally grabbing. It's not like you're grabbing the bull by the horns. Honestly, you're not like
And
you're
most
not the world's
likely,
strongest man.
and most likely, you'll know damn well the bull's gonna whoop you one.
Yeah, like it's. I'm like, come on, people. It's get your head out of your ass.
Right there. Yeah, I know. It's like, so many people out there are just looking for something to pick on. Like, now, speaking of which, they did pick on Metallica, the Christian fundamentalists, right? They went after Metallica for the song, for the imagery, the dark imagery in their songs, like insanity, violence, and even went after them for the song Fade to Black, which was about suicide. They
Now,
went
the
at
song "Obey Your Master." What is
Master of
that one?
Puppets. Master of Puppets is
Master-
about drug use.
Okay, so
yeah.
when they're saying "Obey Your Master," they're telling you to do drugs, basically.
Yeah, it's basically the view. Well, basically, when they write a song about drug use, they often write from the drug's point of view. Like Ozzy Osbourne had a song called Demon Alcohol, which he spoke from the alcohol's point of view. Say, don't speak of suicide solutions. You took my hand. I'm here to stay. And when Ice-T when Ice-T did that song Cop Killer with his band Body Count, he was speaking from the point of view of the guy who's got harassed by the police to the point where he decides to go off and kill a few cops. Nowhere did it even say, go in there and kill cops. Not once. They don't really try to do that. They're just giving you the point of view of the person that they're talking about.
Understand.
Yeah. But there's so many Christian. You remember the satanic panic from the 1980s? Every Christian, speaker, preacher out there was condemning rock music left and right from every genre. We were talking about, like, for instance, one of the two big bands they went after, AC/DC and Black Sabbath. Now is wait a minute, blah blah blah. What's the area you're living in? Black Mountain. Is it mostly a Christian, is it more like a conservative Christian town area that you live in?
It's hard to say. It. Yeah, there's a lot of churches around here, but I really don't know. Like sometimes Black Mountain is a tad bit liberal, but sometimes it's a tad bit it's on both sides of the spectrum, but I would say
Both.
Asheville is mostly liberal.
I am.
It's
I heard about the same thing about. I remember YR talking about same thing about downtown Houston at times there. Like because when I go to Numbers nightclub, there's a lot of you gay, straight bear, gay, straight bi, trans people who go up there. I see it a lot of times there. People dressing like in the '80s and everything. It's basically the area where you just let loose. Whereas the conservative side is like, you're supposed to be like this, supposed to be like that, supposed to be like this. And you know, but it's basically for me. I'm kind of like sway on both sides myself there because I look at both sides with a lot of questionability when they come out with a lot of things. Like for instance, I disagreed with Donald Trump blaming video games for all the shootings that have been going on during this presidency.
how we not go into politics, dude? Like that's that's
I know. That's what we're trying to avoid right now. But you see where we're coming from here. You know, people blaming, because a lot of throughout the 1980s there. Now, you said you were born in 1990, right?
yes, it was.
Oh, yes, good. Because I remember when I was an adult around the mine basically when I was listening to a lot of heavy metal throughout the whole 1980s there with bands like Accept, a local group called Seduce out of Detroit, Black Sabbath, Judas Priest, AC/DC, and my mom would jump down my throat all the time saying they're satanic, they're evil, because she would read about it in these Christian books condemning rock music, and they would go after everybody. They even went after Jethro Tull. They even went after Emerson Lake and Palmer. They went after everybody because it's everybody. They even went after the Eagles for the supposed lyrical content of Hotel California and plus the lyrics of the song Witchy Woman, which they claim
Yeah.
is about involvement with a witch. And
They
of course,
even went after different generations have had people go after different people. Like for instance, Elvis Presley.
oh yeah,
He was the king of rock and roll uh, because the way Elvis would move his hips, they thought was wrong.
yep,
And they tried to, even back in the day, they tried to cancel Elvis. Like they didn't successfully do it because it was more of a popular sensation to Elvis. And but I could tell you what, if Elvis had started his career in the mid 2000s, like in like our modern era, Elvis would have been really successful because today's standards, we don't even care, what we do with our bodies on TV because
yeah,
like just look at Lady Gaga and
yeah.
all these rappers and jostling their bodies in their music videos and stuff like that. It gets to a point where it's like,
It's not new no
you
more.
know, there's some stars that like breakout singers and bands and stuff like that just start in the wrong time. But sometimes it's appropriate that they did start when they did start because they made their money. Well, just look at NSYNC. NSYNC, I don't know if it was NSYNC or the Backstreet Boys that basically their manager was taking advantage of them
Oh yeah,
and taking them to exclusive parties and dinners. And what happened is at the end of their time, they were broke.
I
They
know.
like he was ripping them off.
Lou Pearlman, and he went to jail for doing what they call a Ponzi scheme, believe it or not. There, and I guess he died while still in prison. A lot of
Damn.
managers can be doubles themselves. Look at the managers of Grand Funk Railroad, the manager of Black Sabbath. I mean, like Sabbath, they found out they didn't have that much money because the managers owned everything. Basically, the copyright of their songs, as well as their mansions and automobiles that they drove. I
Same thing
mean,
with Elvis. Elvis had a contract with the Colonel, and he basically owned half of what Elvis was.
yeah,
And when Elvis fired him, basically the Colonel turned around and was like, you break up with me, you're going to lose everything because you're going to have to spend years and years paying me back. So Elvis had to stay with him. but it took him years and years to like break off from him because of like some going to court after Elvis passed, and I don't know whatever came of it, but I know that the fact and the recent Elvis movie, it kind of shows you what kind of relationship that they had, what Elvis and the Colonel had,
Oh yeah, that's not common in rock and roll. I mean, like Peter Frampton had issues with his manager. Billy Joe had issues with his manager as well. There, you know. Now, when you hear when you listen to Black Sabbath by chance, any songs from them?
Well, my brother back in the day used to listen to a bunch of songs, and I would be riding home from school, and he would have the volume cranked all the way up, so all the songs sounded similar to me.
Mm-hmm.
So like I heard most of the rock and roll headbanging songs from back in the day, and I definitely did like Rammstein. I was
Oh
definitely
yeah,
a fan of Rammstein. Du
Du
hast
Hast.
mich,
Yeah,
du hast the
yeah.
Frau. And I don't
Oh
even speak German. And later on I found out that means you hate me.
yeah. I remember that I'm hearing the lyrics as well in the translation there. Now, I know it has now. Everybody now knows today that the members of Black Sabbath never were devil worshippers. In fact, a couple of members were raised Catholic. Geezer Butler, in particular, there. But I think one of the reasons, I mean, they went after, of course, but I think one of the reasons why they went after Black Sabbath is because, of course, the imagery on the album covers and the tone of their music. And you also got to remember, a lot of that was pushed on by the record labels that they were signed in. The idea was to create a little bit of controversy because, as we all know, controversy creates cash. I mean, it worked with Madonna, Ozzy, and of course Ice-T with his band Body Count with the song I mentioned earlier, Cop Killer. And but the reality is that they never were Satanists. In fact, the only thing they really worshipped was the drugs they were doing at that time. They were like kids in the candy store, they admitted a few times in the past.
Now stop me if I'm wrong here, but recently I did some research, and it was recently released in an article that Insane Clown Posse is a Christian band
Oh,
because
really?
because all their songs they talk about are going after the bad people,
Yeah.
and like there are like Christian messages in their songs, but like I'm like okie dokie. So what is the tempest supposed to mean exactly?
Wow.
Uh, but it's kind of interesting and to think that they think that Insane Clown Posse is a cult. It's just
Or a
a
gang, or a hybrid gang. That freaked me the heck out when I heard that. It's like, really? You're gonna call? In that case, you're gonna have to go after all the deadheads in the world, for crying out loud.
apparently the FBI had an investigation on them for a while, but I don't think there was any evidence to prove that they were a cult because their following, they just wear makeup and they go woot
Yep.
woot. And I actually know one of the oldest living juggalos, and he's a good friend of mine.
Ah, that's nice
And he
there.
has a tattoo, and the one thing about him is he has a tattoo of a clown face, of a
Ah,
juggalo face, on his face.
I see there. Yeah. It's like I don't see, but then again, I guess in the lot, I guess what it is that the FBI has to have. I don't know if they're bored out of their skulls to come up with that theory, but it's just like I said, like the only thing I've seen the juggalos to do is they don't really do that much damage to property or anything. I've yet to even see any of those cats do that. I mean, it's usually these sports freaks that do that kind of damage whenever their home team wins, like what happened in Detroit in '84 and in Philadelphia a couple years back there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, Tommy, also, you know the Eagles, right?
Yeah, I know the Eagles. Yeah.
Now, did you ever did you and your older brother have the Hotel California album on vinyl?
Well, my brother wasn't. My brother was more of a fan of like the headbanging music back in the
Like
day.
I was, yeah, like I was, man. Yeah. My mom,
But I eventually, welcome to Hotel California, such a wonderful place, such a wonderful place.
yeah.
Uh, and also, what is it? The house of the rising sun. Do do do
Mm.
do 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 do
Eric
do.
Burdon and the
You know,
Animals, classic tune there. Now,
you
believe
know,
it or not, no, go ahead.
it's hard to believe that. I mean, I'm a '90s child, but I love a lot of the '80s music.
Oh,
And if you look at my favorites list on my phone, on my YouTube, you could say, well, Tommy's a bit of a '90s kid, but also is a bit of a '80s, '70s. Like I like different kind of music. If I don't know, uh, I I just I have a different like I have a taste for different music. And different sounds, and a certain song will catch me. Nickelback, burn it to the ground. I know that
good
was
song there. It is. It is a good
people
song there.
say it's a strip club song,
Oh
but
yeah.
I'm like, they say that's a good drinking song to be
Oh yeah,
drinking.
I believe that's the intent of that song was to get boozed up and to pass out there. And the reason I brought up the Eagles because in the gatefold of Hotel California, the album, where all the bands are in the hotel lobby with all the guests and everyone else in there, up in the balcony, there is this mysterious figure looking down. And now the figure is way out of focus, but there's been speculation that that person may or may not be the founder of the Church of Satan, Anton LaVey. People have been just claiming that for years, while the members of the Eagles saying they do not know who that person was. It may have been a model. We do not know that. Even though went after the supposed connection between Hotel California lyrics and the Satanism itself because of the few lines up there. There were spirits saying, "Welcome to the Hotel California." And of course, the last few lines of the song, "You could check out any time, but you can never leave," which is basically how they describe hell.
Well, isn't Hotel California a mental institution?
For I understand, we don't really know, but for I understand, from according to a article I read about the true meaning of the song, is may have been looking at their L.A. as a whole, like a hotel when you look at it there, possibly.
Yeah.
But I think the one about the mental institution may have been Pleasant Valley Sunday by the Monkees. And that's according
Okay.
to the Mike Nesmith, one of their members there who passed away not too long ago there. And of course,
Eesh.
now here's some, I got to throw this one out there. People were condemning Black Sabbath left or right, but yet they had a Christian song on one of their albums, After Forever. I believe it was people like you that crucified Christ. I think it is sad that the opinion you had was the only one voiced. Before you look up and realize, open your eyes and realize that He is the one. That was a pro-Christian song that they sang on that album, Master of Reality there. But yet there were so many underground metal bands out there that were kind of like rocking for Satan. Like for instance, the band Venom, a power trio out of England there, at war with Satan. The song Black Metal there, they were like considered one
Well,
of the first black metal acts out there.
just look at Motley Crue. Motley Crue was hated on because they had a song called "Shout at the Devil."
Yeah,
And when they were interviewed, they were asked, wait a minute, you're saying shout at the devil? And like, well, we're basically saying shout down at the devil because we don't like the devil. So like, they tried to say that they weren't into Satanism either.
yeah.
They had a song called "Shout at the Devil."
Really, here's something else. Now, believe it or not, the original Ark album cover for that album was all black with the band logos and the band title up above and underneath, and in the middle was a black pentagram upside down in the original album cover there. Now for the CD and the cassette copies, they decided to just put the members of the band from the Gatefold album, because that's what it originally was, on the front cover. Because, Christian fundamentalists were going to get upset over it. And in the back it said, warning, this album may contain backwards messages. And in the original, in the video for the song Livewire, which came out a year before, it had a pentagram behind Tommy Lee's kid, bunch of skull candles. Nikki Sixx wore an upside down cross necklace, believe it or not. So basically, I guess it was some kind of like a little gimmick. I guess a lot of bands use that as a gimmick, to make themselves look tough, to get attention. I mean, like Wasp, the heavy metal band out of the same area, Blackie Lawless used to do everything they can to do some shock, like kind of like the same thing Alice Cooper used to do back in the day with the song Dead Babies, Cold Ethel, the lyrical content of Ballad of Dwight Fry. We all know what that song's about there. And, of course, now we realize that they're not Satanists or not this, but keep in mind there are still metal bands out there who do worship Satan. The band Deicide, for example, there. Mostly the black metal bands out of Norway, Sweden, they still worship Satan there. In fact, believe it or not, King Diamond from Merciful Fate, he practices what is called LaVey Satanism. I guess the Satanism that Anton LaVey advocated during his time on Earth.
Damn.
Yeah. I mean, oh man. Ah, dude. They even went after Stevie Nicks.
Sorry.
What up? They even went after
Stevie. If I ask you an off-topic question about something.
Yeah, go ahead.
Have you ever watched the movie from 1991, Bingo?
Bingo. I don't think I have. No, I don't think I've heard of it until now there, believe it or not.
If you get a chance, and you should give it a watch on Tubi, it is a ridiculous 90s movie, which it was PG. It's PG, but I swear they talk like they're in a PG-13 movie. Like, it was one of my all-time favorite movies as a kid growing up. And I recently watched it again, and the kid's like, "Holy shit!" And I'm like, the hell? I'm like, that does not sound like a PG movie. I'm like, I can't believe my parents only watched this.
Man, there were a lot of
the adult comedy in this movie. Like, there's a scene where Bingo literally goes over and sleeps with a poodle, and a champagne bottle comes rolling out of the dog box, and you just hear, and like, okay, I guess dogs drink champagne.
Okay, there. That's something there.
But if you get a chance, give it a watch. It's ridiculous.
All right, definitely we'll definitely do so, man. We will. Thank you for the suggestion, dude. Now,
no problem.
All right.
I should say I don't know a lot. I know some things about music, but I don't know as detailed as you are into music. I really don't know a lot of music.
Oh, definitely invite you to listen on whenever we go live, man. That's it for sure, man. Definitely.
I understand that. Well, hey, Doctor, I actually have to head out, man, but thank you for having me on your show, dude.
Thank you for coming on the show. We're glad to have you on here, man.
This is unexpected, just to say to people, I didn't even know this was happening. Dr. Earl just gave me a call, and I just answered the call. So, and that's no hate to you, Dr. Earl. I'm just saying that you gave me a call, and I just came on the Skype call, and you said, "Hey, I'm live." So, I'm just saying,
All right, there, yeah. So, like I said, I was hoping to get you on my channel as a guest sometime, and I finally done it. Yay, mission accomplished. Yay.
No problem.
All
You have a
right, there.
great show, man.
You
Okay.
great. You have a good too. Have a good one too, Tommy. All right. Is Ken going live tomorrow night?
I don't know. I haven't really spoken to Ken.
All right, there. Hoping so. It's been a while since you've been live on there. All right,
Yeah.
there. You have a good one there, Tommy. Thank you once again for being a guest on our show here.
No problem, man.
All
Thank
right.
you.
All right. Bye bye.
Bye bye.
The great one, Tommy, NC 2010, ladies and gentlemen. I feel happy now. I feel really happy. All right. So, I know we was going to talk about Stevie Nicks and all the accusations that was thrown at her, by the Christian rights groups there. They were accusing her of advocating witchcraft, and with the songs Rihanna, her dress code, and a lot of subjects of her songs, and a lot of the women and the people out there who do practice Wicca look to her as an idol as a result from that there. And for word has it that the song Rhiannon was about a witch. And so, and I guess, I guess a lot of bands were like, during the early 1970s, kind of trend, usually out of England, we're trying to trend it towards the dark side a little bit there. I mean, like Uriah Heep a couple times released album covers and dark themed tunes there, like the song Gypsy and such there. I mean, like, but then again, that was just the kind of style of rock that was coming out at that time there.
Exactly.
Yes, and I think now, if you remember, were any people going after the crazy world of Arthur Brown because of the lyrical content of the song Fire and the fire poem that preceded before it?
They didn't really, it wasn't as public as some of it is. I mean, heck, the Stones released an album called Their Satanic Majesty's Request.
Yeah, that's right there. Yeah, they got on, and they got a lot of heat for that. Let's also not forget Goat's Head Soup. One of the songs of that album was called Dancing with Mr. D, with some kind of like graphic lyrics in that song there. And let's not forget one of the, that little inner sleeve where the albino goes in, there is a picture of a goat's head boiling in a witch's cauldron. And I guess the Christians got upset over that.
Right.
Of course, we cannot forget Kiss. Now, according to the members of Kiss, Gene and Paul, they said Kiss came about as a way of something that's powerful, it's kind of lewd in a way, while the Christian fundamentalists were accusing them of meaning Kiss means Knights in Satan's Service. That's what they presumed in the name Kiss meant.
Oh, yeah, I remember that.
Yes. And a lot of let's not forget the the story behind the photo shoot for their album Hotter Than Hell. Apparently there was a massive orgy, that people were getting drunk except for Gene because he doesn't drink. And I guess there was a massive orgy going on, I guess, behind the scenes shoots there. I think you could find it on the Google Images if there is possibly. You know what? I should probably check right now, see if I could find it. All right, there. And I know some. Well, of course, we cannot forget some of the flack the Beatles were getting, especially for the comment that John Lennon made in '66 about the Beatles are now bigger than Jesus Christ. And but let me dispute that quote for a second. Lennon was saying that the Beatles have now become so popular that they're bigger than Jesus Christ. And he wasn't saying that they're bigger than God. He could have said about radio or television being bigger than Jesus Christ. Or Dungeons and Dragons, when you look at it there. So I think that's what the original content of that...
it was actually, at the time, a fairly innocent comment, and it was taken out of context.
Yeah, especially in the southern area there. Their records are being burned, like stations were calling them to go off on them for this reason, that reason there. And plus, a lot of people are saying that, I know the Christians also went at them for practicing that Hare Krishna stuff with that Maharaji guy there up in India there. Of course, well, believe it or not, John, Ringo, and Paul left early because they got disgruntled with it. In fact, Lennon wrote a song of describing it called "Sexy Sadie." What have you done? You made a fool of everyone. That was directed towards the Maharishi. Only
Right.
George Harrison, continued that Buddhist practice up to his death there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, another song that I just thought of that I'd forgotten about was Uriah Heep on
Ooh,
their album.
you okay there?
Yeah, I need to clear my throat.
I
Hang
see
on.
there. All right. All right. All right, we'll be back in a second there. All right,
Okay.
I got the Google images up of some of the photo shoots of that Kiss album that I mentioned there, and so wow, it was a party. Damn,
Yeah.
that's for sure.
But Uriah Heep on the Magician's Birthday album
Mm-hmm.
had a two-part song called Paradise the Spell
Uh-huh.
that if you listen to it, it's kind of like, well, it's kind of hard to figure out exactly what it's about. But it's obviously about, Satan and well, it's not just Satan. It's about the whole battle,
The battle between the good and evil.
right?
You know what?
But it's actually a pretty good song.
Yeah, I know. Which is kind of makes sense. Like the world. It's like kind of makes sense. Satan and God are always battling one another, no matter what.
Right.
And I believe that's going to be the longest WrestleMania event in a lifetime. Way beyond all lifetimes when you think about it there. They're going to be at each other's throats no matter what. And when you, son of a gun, it's kind of funny, going back to Black Sabbath, Ronnie James Dio, he got flack for the devil horn sign they used to do on stage. The
Right.
two fingers sticking out was basically the ones on top represented the horns, and the thumb sticking out represented the devil's tongue. Now, according to Dio himself, and during the performance, he said this means "I love rock and roll." But that was done that was often used a lot of times in the sporting events. I guess the Texas Longhorn were using that hand gesture a lot of times, so I understand.
Right.
In fact, you remember Gene tried to have that hand gesture copyrighted, but sadly, he got called out massively by the rock and roll media for saying, "Hey, Ronnie James Dio popularized that one there," and plus it would be a total joke, and plus it made him look like a greedy mofo. Even
Yeah.
Wendy Dio called him out for doing that. Ronnie's window. But I guess, like I understand, that there are bands out there who do worship Satan themselves, Glenn
Right.
Benton of Deicide, for example. In fact, here's something else. He takes a little cross, turns it upside down, and burns it into his forehead occasionally. I don't know if he still does it, but he does it once in a while there, if I understand. Like I said, I don't know if he does it now and then, but he creates a controversy over that there. And let's not forget the gore metal band Cannibal Corpse, some of their topics of their songs. Like they got a lot of heat from the Christian fundamentalists there. Now let's not also forget it also stretches to the pop music as well. They went after Madonna in the '80s, Prince for the lyrical content of some of his songs like "Darling Nikki," "Sister," "Head," you know, the song controversy, which basically was about how the press was addressing him. Is Prince gay? Is he straight, black or white? Is he this or is he that? That's basically what the song was really about. He also went after him for simulating a sex, scene in the song "Do Me Baby" from that same album. You know, and here's something else. You remember the video for the song 1999, whereas
Mm-hmm.
keyboardist Lisa Coleman is hugging Jill Jones, the blonde chick with the hat on there. People were like questioning that because is he advocating, gay rights, men and women, stuff, such and such. Turns out Lisa Coleman is gay, and in fact, she had a long relationship with their guitarist Wendy Melvoin for many years, even after they departed from the group, the Revolution, that is. But Prince apparently spoke about a lot about on God in his earlier tunes as well, like the song God, like the Ladder. You know, he even said at the end of his song, you know, let's pretend we're married. I'm in love with God. He even said that there. So he was a holy man, but at the same time, according to others, he was quote unquote mixed up. And he did claim that a lot of his lyrics was for what he hears outside. In fact, Anti-Christian, the song from Controversy, that spoke about the people who shot the Pope, John Lennon. But Christian fundamentalists, they thought it was condemning a Christian, when it really wasn't about that.
Right.
Yeah.
A lot of times that kind of stuff gets highly misunderstood.
It does, yeah, exactly, and that's sad because people need to read between the lines. I'm like,
Right.
I used to have arguments with my mom about Black Sabbath. She says we're a demon group, they're a devil worshiping group. Like, she even begged me not to go see Black Sabbath with my sister's boyfriend and two old buddies of mine back in 1983. And of course, and here they are, but yet here they are doing a reunion at Live Aid, helping to participate, raising funds to feed Africa. That's a good charitable cause there. And Ma didn't really believe that, until she saw the footage herself there. In fact, I had to tell her the whole story about why that satanic imagery was on their album covers. That was done to cash in. Like, if you have let's say if your name of your band is called AK-47, you're going to have some mascot on every album cover carrying the AK-47. Now,
Right.
to the parents out there, that's going to say that's advocating gun violence when it really isn't.
True.
And
But people will a lot of times just dream up stuff.
yeah, exactly. I think some of it can be dreamed up, just make them convince them, what they were trying to get through their heads. I'm reading this in a Hit Parader magazine. It was about a young teenage boy who was feeling down and out. He was feeling depressed. What it was is that, his girlfriend had broke up with him. He was feeling down and out. He felt like he was going to end it all. But he was going to go out. He was going to go out rocking. He was going to take his life while listening to the album The Right to Rock by the band Keel, Keel, fronted by Ron Keel, who used to work with Yngwie Malmsteen the years before there in a band called Steeler. Now, Keel is not one of those satanic bands, but they're more like a party type of group there.
Right.
Yes. Out of the blue, while listening to the album, the boy gets a phone call from his girlfriend wanting to get back together with him. And then he later on gets another phone call from a friend of his asking, hey, you play guitar? Want to join our band? So, in the end of the letter, he thanks the band Keel for saving his life. And I thought about that for a long while there after reading that. I would say, like, if this boy did carry out his threat, would the band Keel be taken into court like they did with Judas Priest years later in 1990? Because we all know what happened to Judas Priest. Two boys were smoking dope, drinking beer, and they ended up shooting themselves, both dying. And the parents of those two boys took Judas Priest to courts, claiming that, there was hidden messages in the music there, when it really wasn't. The two
Right.
boys just couldn't come out and admit, hey, we were fucked up on the booze and drugs. So they had to put some level blame on the music. Oh, we were mesmerized by the music. We were mesmerized by what the singer was saying. No, you weren't. You were high as fuck, and you ended up doing something totally stupid, and that made everybody look bad. Yourselves, your parents, and the band Judas Priest. And the Judas Priest, ended up going to court in the state of Nevada for God knows how long, for a good number of weeks there. Now, Priest did prevail, but the trial was on their minds for God knows how long there. In fact,
Oh yeah.
that may have added to Rob Halford departing from the group. Apparently, a lot of the songs that he had written were full of angst, anger, cuss words, and that. And I guess a lot of, I guess you could say, the resentment that the band felt, as a result of that was definitely massively huge. Now, keep in mind, I know Christian fundamentalists were also going after the topics of their songs, like the lyrics of the Sentinel, or Better by You, Better Than Me, which, by the way, was a cover tune originally done by the band Spooky Tooth. And also the lyrics to, basically, the lyrics to Sinner, the lyrics to Jawbreaker. And somebody is calling me right now. And let's see what we got here. I do not know this area code 409, and I'm not answering.
That's not familiar to me either.
Not familiar to either. I guess it'll reveal that when I look on the call logs there. Probably a scam son of a bitch, I'll bet you. It's been a long while since I got any of those scamming calls, believe it or not.
Well, that's a good deal.
Yeah, I know, because almost every day I was getting those damn things. When they went out. Now, I guess, I don't know if some of the bands today, are trying to keep themselves clean, like some of the new rock acts out there. But some of the newer acts out there are trying to learn from the 90s acts out there, which are trying to keep themselves clean there. And I guess, this one group out of Italy called Mainskin, they often dress like they're in the 70s with the makeup and stuff like that. Oh, we cannot forget the flack they gave Led Zeppelin.
Mm.
They condemned them for the cover of Houses of the Holy. They condemned them for its Stairway to Heaven having backwards messages. They condemned them for the album artwork of the album Presence. The back cover of that has a high school teacher holding that mysterious object and also putting her hand on a child's head, a little boy's head to be exact. So I guess, people were condemning them left and right there for that kind of stuff there. And rumor has it that, we spoke about this many times, that Plant, Page, and Bonham went and saw a satanic priest and made a deal with the devil, supposedly, for fame and fortune. The only one who did not go was bassist John Paul Jones, which pretty much sums up why Jones didn't have anything happen to him throughout the Zeppelin's career. Remember, Plant was in a car wreck in Anthem's Greece, which he had amnesia for a while. He was his leg was in a cast during when he recorded the album Presence. Jimmy Page had a madman, for I remember hearing one time only, that this madman wanted to go assassinate him for some dumb reason. The band was robbed out of thousands of dollars while he was playing in Madison Square Garden, just mysteriously. This happened. It was the footage of the news reports was included in the movie. Song Remains the Same, where that concert was filmed at. And of course, John Bonham dying in 1980 from too much drinking. When you think about it, and I guess a lot of people and let's also not forget, Plant's second child, his son, died from an unknown illness during their 77 world tour. And of course, let's not forget Jimmy Page supposedly moving into the house that Aleister Crowley lived in.
Right.
Yeah. So there was a lot. I know Jimmy Page was big into the occult back then, and I don't know if he still is now. He probably may have, done the right thing and lay off of some of that stuff, knowing the damage that it did to his band there.
Yeah, I would think he did.
Yeah, exactly. Because everybody know, because people were apparently, according to one author, were telling the band, see what happens when you get involved with that stuff. See what happens when you get involved with the devil. When you play with the devil, you're gonna get burned. You know.
Yeah, there's a band, I can't remember their name, but they have a 20-minute song called Duel with the Devil.
Mm.
What the heck is the name of it? I think it's, oh gosh, I can't remember it, but it's a prog group.
Duel with the Devil.
Yeah.
Let me look it up right now here.
I think the name of the group starts with a T, but I just can't remember what it is.
Duel with the Devil here. Song. Okay, let's see what we got here. Okay, it should be coming up pretty soon here. Transatlantic.
Yeah, that's it.
I see there. It's from an album. It's from an album called Bridge Across Forever. All right, there.
Yeah, Transatlantic. That they're a super group with members from America and England, and that's where the Transatlantic comes from.
I see there, and the genre is indie and alternative rock.
Yeah, but they're a little more prog to me.
Yeah, I see there.
Yeah, Duel with the Devil's about 20 minutes long, I think.
Oh wow, there. Wow.
And generally, it's not always true, but generally, if a song's long, it's proggy.
Yeah, so that's true there. I guess, anything over 10 minutes, basically there.
Yeah, and a lot of songs in the 5 to 10 minute range, same thing.
Exactly. I mean, you look at Keely's Last Stand from Led Zeppelin there.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, there's some parts of Zeppelin that could be considered proggy.
Yeah, exactly. Like No Quarter, the song I'd mentioned previously. And of course, let's not forget that one song from In Through the Outdoor. That's about 7 or 10 minutes long there. Casa Labranda, what it's called. I always had trouble pronouncing that. I have a bitch of a time pronouncing that whole title.
And actually, Kashmir can be considered proggy.
Yeah, with the way the drums play through that flange effect and the mellotron.
Oh, the drums are fantastic.
Absolutely, there. Barack Obama's right. Bonham played those things like his life damn well depended on it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Ah, boy. Well, I think I guess it is fits to say that I know if it still goes on today. I think they now some of the Christians out there now realize that some of that stuff, that Sabbath and Iron Maiden were doing, not really satanic at all. In fact,
Right.
I got to talk about that song, "The Number of the Beast." I got to look that up because I heard it was about because there were lines in that song saying, "This can't go on. I must inform the law." Meaning of the song, "Number of the Beast," meaning. Okay, there. All right, let's go do this. Come on. Here we go. Cinnamon, why they did that? Okay. Let me look on the Wikipedia there. See if I can find it. It does this all the time, man. Give me a break. Okay, there. Okay. Okay, and what is the number to... Okay. Come on. Now what we got here? Give me a couple of minutes here. Now we all know what it means. It represents the 3 6s represents the world's unified governments in opposing the god.
Right.
The beast is said to have a human number, and the re-represented governments are of a human origin rather than of spirit entities. The meaning, okay there, what's the story about the song? Right now it's going to the album. I'm going to look up the album on Wikipedia there. It's the third studio album by Iron Maiden. Came out in March of 1982 with Bruce Dickinson on their as their vocalist. It was also the last to feature drummer Clive Burr, rest in peace. It was a critical success. And no, I'm not asking you to donate to anything there. Now, okay there. I'm not doing that. Okay, let me look at here. All right. Let me look up the song here. The title cat track was considered by many religious groups in the U.S. as evidence that Maiden were a satanic band. The song was in fact inspired by a nightmare bassist Steve Harris had, triggered by watching the movie Damien, The Omen 2, late at night. In addition, Harris has stated that the lyrics were kind of influenced by Robert Burns' Tam O'Shanter. I was about to say. The track opens with a spoken introduction for the Book of Revelation, read by actor Barry Clayton. According to Bruce Dickinson, the band originally approached Vincent Price to record the passage, but were unwilling to pay the fee of £25,000 to the guy. Although the liner notes state that the passage is from Revelations 13:18, the first line comes from Revelations 12:12. All right. So that's the meaning of the song there.
Mm.
All right. Well, so I guess the bottom line is here, there are going to be those who oppose what you listen to because of this reason, that reason. Don't take it too heavy. Just keep on listening what you listen to there. Just be careful not let it get to your head at times. That's all I got to say.
Right.
Yeah, because some people out there take it literally way too serious, where it gets to the point where they just go ape shit.
Right.
All right there. I guess
Wednesday we'll talk about the other side.
Yeah, Christian rock. Definitely got to talk about that.
Well, in songs that reference
absolutely there.
Christian
now,
stuff.
I don't know what happened with YR or Keith or RP and SC. I'm hoping the guys are doing all right, especially my boy YR. I don't know if he's having internet issues, because remember he had them last night.
Right.
When he joined in. But either way, it was a good episode that we did tonight. And once again, special thank you to Tommy NC 2010 for being a guest on our show.
Yeah.
Yes, it was good to have him on the show. Like I said, I was hoping to get the guy on my channel as a guest, and here we have it. We done it. Mission accomplished. I'm hoping to have him again on a future episode of our show here. Okay? And in fact, I even have a good subject to talk about possibly next week after our Christian rock episode, mental illness within the music industry.
Yeah. I probably don't know much about it. But.
Oh, yeah. We'll definitely bring up, a few people out there. One in particular that co-founded a well-successful English group there. All right there. So, for Arknolia and for Tommy and myself, you guys have a good one. We will see you all next Wednesday. Bye-bye.
Yeah, that worked.